Welcome back to the Morning Blend. Well, whether it's a parent, a grandparent, spouse, end-of-life conversations are never easy. So how do you find the right words? Today, some tips to help you with that conversation, plus simple things you can do to bring comfort or brighten the day for someone facing a serious or even terminal illness.
Yeah, Barb Bartlein is the People Pro, and she's also an author and nurse, and recently she lost her mother, and she's joining us with her story and some tips on how to approach difficult conversations. It is a difficult conversation.
It is, but I think people make it more difficult than it has to be. You know, we can talk about births, we can talk about life events, but I don't quite understand why terminal illness, even death, is so what's the word I want? So intimidating to people, they just can't even talk about it.
I think you understand it, though. I mean, if you think about it, it's because when you love someone that much, you do not even want to fathom it happening.
Yes.
You know, I think that's why we don't even want to broach the topic, because we think if we do, we're somehow going to jinx something, or we're going to cause something worse to happen, or it might happen faster. Because I think many of us, when we're about to lose someone, we often are in denial of it. And I think that's the truth.
In denial, and maybe by talking about it, it makes it real.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right, Tiffany. Yeah. That could be part of it. But I think some of those conversations, especially towards the end of life, are just wonderful, wonderful opportunities to share feelings.
Yeah, I have a friend who just lost her mom, and she thought it was a gift, the time that she had at the end with her mom, where they had a chance to visit and have some of these difficult conversations. But you're kind of dealing with your own emotions, plus you love this person, your parent, your spouse, your very close friend, and so you're dealing with their fears and their concerns as well. So tell us a little bit about your mom's story and some of the things that happened, because you really kind of planned the last days, weeks, and months with her.
Yes, when my mother got ill, which was about 3 years before she died, I actually moved in with her and took care of her for the last 3 years. And it was really wonderful. There were many, many days we sat out on the deck with the flowers and the birds, and we just talked. And I heard the same stories over and over again, which at the time I can remember sometimes feeling like, oh, here's this story again. But you know what's funny is now that she's gone, those stories just ring in my head. And I remember so many of her rules. She had rules about a lot of things, like things, you know, you never plant your flowers before Memorial Day. I mean, that's a rule. You can't do it.
What's another rule? Do you remember?
Always buy everything on sale. Always go for the special. So, you know, the first thing I do when I go to a restaurant is look, what's on special? Because that's one of the rules.
I love that. Are there certain things that you discussed that you think are important to note, and things that maybe you didn't that you wish you had?
The one regret I have is I wish I would have just enjoyed the moment more. Because sometimes I would get impatient or feel like, well, I got to go do stuff. You know, I'm always so busy. I'm doing things. Got to always be doing things. And sometimes I think the real gift is learning how to just be. And I wish I would have embraced that even more.
What are some difficult topics that you approach with her that you're glad you did, or you got some insight with her that helped you understand kind of what her wishes were maybe, or what her true feelings were on some important things?
I think one of the areas that brought me a lot of peace was knowing what she wanted towards the end of her life, because it made it very clear. And I know you two kind of know my story. When my mother had her final stroke, I didn't even take her to the hospital. That's not what she wanted, and I knew that. Now, if I hadn't had that conversation with her, maybe I would have called the ambulance and had a lot of brouhaha. As it was, I just simply put her to bed, and I filled the room with roses, and I snuggled her. And it was just a very, very nice goodbye. Now, I would not have known that's what she wanted if we wouldn't have had that conversation.
That's an important one and very difficult one to have. Are there rules of etiquette when you're talking to someone who's terminally ill, or you're in that kind of conversation that you should follow?
I think it's helpful to just tell the truth. So, for example, if you're nervous or you don't know what to say, tell them you're nervous and you don't know what to say. They'll understand that. I also think it's important to reassure them, not necessarily of a positive outcome, but reassure them that you're there, that you'll stand by them, that anything they need you'll take care of, any requests they have. I remember at one point my mom said, I want a beer. A beer? You don't even drink. But I went and got her a beer.
Yeah.
If she wants a beer, she can have a beer. So those kinds of little things.
What about wishes that they have that you don't think you can fulfill either after they're gone or while they're living? I know you took your mom to a lake home for months during the summer, which you were able to do and willing to do. Some people wouldn't be able to leave a job maybe,
Right.
or they wouldn't be able to leave family to go and do something like that. What if there's a wish or request you simply can't fulfill?
Well, and I did have one of those. My mother wanted to go out to Yellowstone, and there was no way physically she could do it. And so I got the National Geographic documentary on Yellowstone, and we watched that.
Oh,
Nice.
So it's finding a way to fulfill it, even if you can't fulfill it. And if they ask you to do something after they're gone, but you're not sure you can do it, I think a good answer is simply, you know what, I'll do my best. And then that's what you do.
And you maybe find a way
Right.
to fulfill it like you did with Yellowstone, but maybe not in exactly the way they might imagine.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think it's great. I know that people can always contact you for information on many of the topics that you cover. Barb Bartlein is on the website, thepeoplepro.com. She's always got great advice.
And
I
just
love what you
real
said.
quick on your website, the letter that you shared with Tiffany and me after your mom passed, is that on your website?
That's actually posted on Facebook -thepeoplepro.com.
Okay.
And
beautiful.
the whole story about my journey with my mother is posted.
It's wonderful on your
beautiful.
Facebook page.
You can't read it with a dry eye.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Thanks.
fantastic. Thank you, Barb.